Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Monday from Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I'm Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, and Taylor Sharp on the ones and twos opening hour on a Monday. Brought to you by The Shed Barbecue. Mr. Hill, how are you?
I'm doing great. Tigers are up, Aggies are down, and never in my life I thought I would be listening to Dixieland Delight during a postgame show, but here we are, baby. Here we are.
It's just a delight. That's exactly right. Pulling for the Tide. It was wonderful. They got it done. I tweeted out during that last drive as Ole Miss was headed down the field. I said, this is heartbreaking to watch. I mean, they were just running it down Alabama's throat, but the Tide held on, got a win, and LSU, the champions of the Western Division of the Southeastern Conference. And that's where we will start. It was not very pretty up in Fayetteville. The weather was not very pretty. Actually, it was a nice day. It was freezing cold. And the product was not very pretty. LSU did not play a very good football game on Saturday, but Arkansas had no quarterback and couldn't score, and LSU did enough to win the game.
Yeah, they did. That was some ugly football, and I think I probably needed some blood pressure medicine after watching that fourth quarter. Just way too close for my liking, just a play away from that thing just being absolutely out of hand, because you just felt like it'd be so tough for the offense to go down and try to score if Arkansas would have took a lead at any point. But you found a way to win, an ugly win, and I think without Harold Perkins, the freshman with the flu, probably goes the other way.
He was something. We will talk about all that over the first hour here on Hunt and Hill. We'll get to the SEC at the top of hour number 2, a little bit of Saints talk in the second hour as well, but heavy on LSU and Arkansas and what we saw on Saturday, and an unbelievable accomplishment. I want to start with that because that is where the story should start. Is winning the West is a big deal. And for LSU to accomplish that in year one under Brian Kelly is incredible. Ole Miss has never done it. A&M has never done it. It's hard to get to Atlanta, and LSU did enough to do so this year. And it's not something that LSU's done a ton. They've done it more than most, but it should be celebrated to win the West.
It's a huge feat, and this is why every preseason I tell you guys about the Aggies. It's so hard to get to Atlanta. They're not going to make it, but to see this team do that in this short fashion, I don't think I've seen the team improve to this level, especially with all the preseason expectations, the win total, everything, just no one on this planet picking you to beat Alabama, and to get to this point right now to be playing in the SEC championship in Atlanta. I think especially you got to give kudos to Coach Kelly for putting the staff together, finding the Band-Aids to put this roster back together and to do this in year one. I think it's absolutely incredible.
So as far as the game goes on Saturday, I thought that Barry Odom did a really good job. The Arkansas defensive coordinator had a plan, and they just had LSU baffled. Clearly, LSU believed in their game plan offensively they were going to be able to throw the football on Arkansas. Everyone else had. We went through all the numbers last week. Everybody's throwing for 350 on these guys. It's just been an atrocious secondary that Arkansas has put out there. So LSU comes out, and on the first 11 snaps that LSU ran, they had 10 pass plays called. Mm-hmm. And what happens there is Arkansas is basically dropping 8 almost every time, and then bringing some zone pressures here and there that were well-timed that LSU did a very poor job of dealing with. And it got LSU totally off balance. They just didn't know what they were doing offensively. They then leaned on the run a ton from that point forward, which was kind of a change, I think, in what they thought they were going to do. But do you believe that Arkansas – first of all, what did you see from what they were doing defensively, and is this a blueprint that teams are going to use moving forward because LSU was only able to produce 13 points?
Yeah, I think, their whole game plan was we're not letting JD5 beat it with his legs. And whether they were spying guys, zone pressuring, they were doing the exact opposite of what Alabama was doing and giving up rush lanes. And I thought anytime he did try to bake the pocket, they had a couple guys right there ready for him to go, and the defensive line really wasn't flying upfield, trying to create much pressure, and it just kind of forced a world where he had to make, accurate, timely throws down the field. Malik had the drop, kind of threw the rhythm off, and then with the passing game after that, it just kind of went absolutely downhill, and you took a version of this LSU offense that did allow them to score, 45 points in back-to-back weeks and get up to 32 points against Alabama, because you had to respect the pass game. And kind of when that avenue was taken away, like you said, Denver kind of stuck with the run game. It was a game where the Arkansas offense really couldn't do anything. So what you just had to do is not screw it up, not have one more turnover. If you think you have a turnover in the second half or fourth quarter at any point, I just don't see how you really overcome that. So I think a lot of people are bashing Tim Brock for this, and they don't think it's one of the best games called. But sometimes you got to win ugly, and that was just running the ball as much as humanly possible and trying to get out of there with a win.
51 runs to 15 passes there, and we've seen Jayden Daniels, and the progression that he's made from September to today has been incredible to watch. But then you look back at the game against Arkansas, and he looked like the guy he looked like in September. Get to the back of his drop, ball doesn't come out, holding it. Now the offensive line kind of craters, and he ends up going down or trying to just run, and then they had a spy on him more often than not. He has not been a guy who has put the ball into tight windows this year. He has not taken those chances more often than not. And so I don't know, again, if this is some sort of trend we've got to be aware of that, I don't know how much UAB is going to show us, but certainly Texas A&M has enough humans back there to figure it out and to try to duplicate what Arkansas did. But if you just drop back into zone and say you're not going to run for more than 2 or 3 yards, he's going to have to try to throw the ball into tight windows. And he just didn't seem comfortable doing that on Saturday.
Yeah, it's just the pass game wasn't on for him in that particular day. Even on the interception, just looked like he had a throwing window and just kind of just threw a really really inaccurate pass, and it kind of just went right to the defender. So it just wasn't his day on that particular day. But to me, I thought a lot of occasion you're running 10-yard stop routes when I would just love to see what got you here in that Florida game, and obviously in that Alabama game, you're throwing go balls down the sideline. Didn't see any of that. Didn't give guys really opportunities to do that on these corners, which I've seen give that up all season long. And I thought that's something that they really, really got away from. But, good thing for the walk-on. My boy Josh Williams, he had a big-time day. And I think he made a lot of special runs in that game to kind of, eat some clock up and really have that day running. You got to give credit to the offensive line, what they're doing in the run game, because if they weren't able to do that, I don't know how you even get to 13.
Yeah, they had to run it. As far as the interception goes, I could not tell what exactly the issue was. I couldn't tell if he was just, the screen was covered, so he was trying to just throw it away like quarterbacks do often. He didn't throw it low enough, and the Arkansas guy made a play. Or the second option I thought was a possibility, and I don't know if he talked about this after the game or not, but he had Neighbors was running. It was an RPO, and he had Neighbors on a slant, but Neighbors went to block right as Daniels was going to throw the football. And I wonder if he was trying to throw it to Neighbors, and then halfway through his delivery went, oh, he's not looking. And then he held on to it too long, trying to hold on and not throw it. And it went way too low. And either way, it was an incredible hand-eye coordination play by the Arkansas kid to catch the football. Either way, there was some sort of lack of execution there, and it resulted in a disaster.
Yeah, that was bad. I think, in games like that, like we talked about, coming out sleepy, coming out not executing, turning over the ball, and to have the fumble too. I just thought that when Tim Brock saw that, he just knew that you were going to see a lot of run game, because that's the only way you lose that game on the road to that team who's, obviously they're going to play for their lives in that game after what they did last week. But I thought you just created a great environment for them to really be in the game, keep the crowd in it, be a possession away, and you just don't want to be in those kind of high-leverage situations when you don't have to. And I thought not being able to get points, which has kind of held this team all season early out in that game, kind of, really slowed things down a ton for that offense.
I thought the coaches made some errors on both sides in the first half. I thought Sam Pittman's decision to go for it on 4th and goal from the 3 with a 3-point lead after the fumble was a horrendous coaching decision. He talked about it in the press conference after and said, hey, I figured points were going to be really tough to come by with a backup quarterback. That was one of our chances to get a touchdown. I thought we'd have a chance to go up 10-0 there. Dude, take the points. Yeah. I mean, no, your quarterback's awful. I mean, awful.
Yeah.
And you've got an opportunity now to go up 6-0 and to keep to keep LSU down. You gave them a spark there basically by allowing them to get that 4th down stop. That, to me, was a horrible decision by Sam Pittman.
Yeah, it's free points. And I think anytime you get a change of possession like that and you get free points, you got to take it. I know it stinks as a coaching staff. It stinks as an offensive staff to get so close to the end zone and not get that touchdown. But I thought that at that point in the game, kind of watching how that LSU offense was operating, to be able to go up double digits in a game like that, I think you got to take that opportunity. If it was on the 1, probably would have liked it a little more. But I thought at that point it just wasn't the greatest call for me. You got to take those points.
And by the same token, Brian Kelly in the second quarter, LSU lined up to go for it on 4th and 1 from its own 24-yard line. Then you get the false start, and it's 4th and 6, and then they run a fake punt, which Mike Jones gets called for holding on it. If he doesn't hold, Bramblett's going to get stopped. I mean, this is not like Josh Jasper or some of the kickers of the past that are soccer players that are like they have some speed. Bramblett's slower than me, and he's running a fake almost out of his own end zone there. I hated the lineup to go for it on 4th and 1 and the decision to fake the punt. You're better than Arkansas. You don't have to play outside the box to beat that team. And then with 1:54 to play in the first half, it's a 3-3 game. It's 4th and 4 from the 6-yard line going in, and Kelly's lined up to go for that. What had you seen through 2 quarters of action that led you to believe you were going to be able to get 4 yards? You couldn't throw the ball. Daniels was getting bottled up. It wasn't like you were running it down their throats. It's 4th and 4. Take the field goal. Their offense is awful. Just take the points. And it turns out that 2 guys jumped off sides, Williams and Booty. So then you had to kick the field goal, which I was thrilled with. But I don't know what Brian Kelly had seen through 2 quarters that said that 4 yards was a statistical probability. It wasn't.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you feel like you have a play that you really, really like. You've been working on it all week, and if we get in this situation, we're definitely calling this. So sometimes, you're in the moment and you're thinking your guys are better. Let's execute and get this. But I think also on the road with an offense that you feel like on the other side is going to be very difficult. If this is Tennessee, if this is one of these offenses that are just, they're going to get 7 on the board, then I could possibly understand it. But against a backup quarterback, I think you got to get points. And I think on the other one where you ran the 4th and 1, like we saw Mississippi State try that time and time again. We've seen you can't just run inside zone. Like there's going to be an extra guy on the edge. You're not going to be able to block him. He's going to blow up the mesh point. You got to have something creative called there. I think just running that, if you're going to call something they haven't seen, show something you haven't, give them an RPO, do something like that. So I thought, you gave them every opportunity to try to, make that a game and win that game. Good thing for Perk out there and good thing for that backup quarterback, because if KJ's out there, I think you lose that game on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't have any problem saying that either. As far as that decision they were lined up to go for it, I'm looking. It's 3-3, and you've got a chip shot field goal. And I could make the case at that point in the game that 6 points might win you the game. Like, going up by field goal might win. Malik Hornsby is incredibly fast, and I understand why he would have been a highly thought-of recruit. As far as playing quarterback, one of the worst throwers I've ever seen an SEC team start. One of the worst I've ever seen. It's inaccurate. Man. It's not on time. Yeah. He can run. He can't throw at all. They were not showing they were going to be able to move the football on your team at all. I was livid that Brian Kelly was not taking the points there. Thankfully, 2 guys jumped off sides, and they had to take the points. But, with Hornsby out there, and then Fortin comes in, and we'll talk about the touchdown drive in the next segment because we're about to take a break. But that's about as lucky a touchdown drive as I've ever seen. The 3rd and 17 throw was in the trees. There were guys everywhere, and it just happened to fall in. And then he gets absolutely lit up like a Christmas tree on the touchdown pass and somehow drops it right in the bucket. The receiver is literally centimeters from stepping out of bounds. There was a 1 foot by 1 foot box that ball had to be in. It turned out to be in there. And they get the touchdown. That was really the only thing the defense surrendered all day. But man, it was tough sledding for both of these offenses. Thankfully, LSU did just enough to get it done. 13-10 was the final. Opening hour on Mondays also always brought to you by The Shed Barbecue. Looking for a place to stop in for a late lunch? The Shed right there on Burbank. Same great barbecue they have in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, now in Baton Rouge. Got your brisket, pulled pork. They got it all over there. If you're looking to tailgate this weekend, last home game, let The Shed know a couple days early and get some delicious barbecue fired up for your tailgate. The Shed, bringing you the opening hour each and every Monday here on Hunt and Hill. We'll come back with more on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
One of the things I love about betting on the NFL is that I'm always finding new players or game props that I like. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook, you can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score even a bigger payday. Perfect for tonight's game.
The Hunt Palmer Fantasy Football Squad is going to need a big night from Jalen Hurts. You can bet his over on the rushing yards, A.J. Brown to score a touchdown. That also would be beneficial to my fantasy squad. The app's so easy to use. You can live bet during the game, and the best part is when you win, you get paid fast. No feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet, so lock in your bet today on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with the promo code 1045ESPN. That is promo code 1045ESPN. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issues, no withdrawable free bets. Expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're someone who has a gambling problem, wants help, go 1-877-770-STOP.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana Products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to
on Tuesday's OTB. Fresh off a couple of 70-point dubs, we'll talk to LSU women's head coach Kim Mulkey, and Nick Underhill stops by to talk Saints and try to make sense of, well, everything. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Opening hour here on a Monday, brought to you by The Shed Barbecue. Going back over LSU's 13-10 win over Arkansas on Saturday up in Fayetteville. And in journalism, there's a cliche called burying the lead. I think we've probably done that here. Look, 40 is a superstar, and the whole country is on notice now. I mean, Greg McElroy could not say enough on the broadcast about how good Perkins was, and then he kept making more plays. And then after the game, McElroy went to Twitter and was like, can Harold Perkins win the Heisman? Like, it's like, well, probably not, Greg, but he's pretty good. And the versatility that he's showing between being a spy, outside linebacker, pass rusher off the edge. I mean, he's just a wrecking crew. He destroyed Arkansas's offense in the second half.
No, he definitely did, and it makes me marvel at just how little snaps he played to start this season. I know, learn the defense, but just send him after the passer. Like, that's literally one. I don't care if it's third down. Like, he needs to be on the field. We've kind of been preaching that, but it's on full display. Lane kind of gave you a little teaser. Like, we lost because of 40. Like, he gave you a little teaser. Now you're seeing that on full display. He's just absolutely special. To see a linebacker just so athletic, so fast, and bending off the edge, touching the ground, and getting around these linemen, I think is absolutely incredible. And I think, it's not going to be said enough. I don't know how you win that game without the play of him and just doing everything. He had a pass breakup at nickelback in that game. Like, he literally did everything you could ask from a freshman. And to see him kind of have the flu before the game, a little flu game flavor to that, I think adds to the legend there. And also not knowing MJ, I got to take a little down off the legend.
Who's MJ was quite a line. Look, it's remarkable what he's become on this team, and that a defensive player could have that big an impact on a game. There's a ton of Tyrann Mathieu talk. There's a ton of Devin White talk. Perkins is a little different than all of them. I've personally never seen a player like Tyrann Mathieu. I've never seen a player do the things that he did at LSU in terms of literally just taking the ball away from ball carriers and forcing fumbles and turnovers at the rate he did. Now, obviously, Perkins forced a couple in the game, including the one that clinched it. But those are more traditional forced fumbles than the Tyrann Mathieu, like just take it away from the ball carrier. But there are some similarities in terms of game-changing ability. And there just aren't that many defensive players that offenses have to tailor their entire game plan around. He's becoming one if he's not already. I mean, because he'll wreck the drive. He'll end the game. I mean, that's what you saw. If you don't pay attention to where he is at all times, you may lose the ball.
No, you definitely has. And I think there's a forced fumble against Florida they're kind of taking from my guy here. And there's also that one. I'll give this one. The ball kind of was coming forward on that one, but he absolutely wrecked that play and wrecked that drive. That was a drive where they're moving the ball and obviously gets to the quarterback, makes him punt on 4th down, and he just made plays throughout I think that just his play in that 4th quarter is absolutely incredible. And if someone would have told me, before the season he would have the same amount of sacks as Will Anderson through 10 weeks, probably would have chuckled a little bit. But that's just the level. He's 1 sack. They took the one from Florida. He would be leading the SEC in sacks right now. And I think for a freshman, that's just absolutely incredible.
He obviously saved LSU there at the end. I thought things got a lot more tense than they needed to in the 4th quarter. Arkansas hits the touchdown to go down 13-10, and LSU gets the ball, gets a couple of runs, looks like they're moving the ball a little bit, and then you get to 2nd and 6, and Miles Frazier jumps off sides to make it 2nd and 11. Arkansas gets home for a sack on the next play, and you've got a punt. I thought that false start was a crucial mistake in the game that put LSU behind the sticks, allowed Arkansas to come after Jayden Daniels like they had all day, and they registered another sack, and then you had to punt. I did like Brian Kelly's decision to go for 4th and 1 with 6 minutes and 39 seconds to go in the game at the Arkansas 43. The field goal is obviously far too long to attempt. But based on where you were on the field and the ability to get a yard, I felt pretty good about LSU just didn't execute the play. So I hated some of the decisions early in the game. I did think going for that 4th and 1 was the right call.
Yeah, in that situation, I think you have to. And I think that's kind of been the calling card of this offense. They kind of know when they get in those situations. I mean, he's trying to go for it on his own 24. So I think in a situation like that, the team's going to want to go for it. The quarterback's going to want to go for it. You just got to go out there and execute now. And I think in this game, it's just one of those days where you just kind of chalk it up, kind of like that Tennessee game. It's like, we're better than this. We have to execute better. And you kind of just probably don't want to watch too much of this film. But I think in that situation, I definitely agree with that one.
What did you make of the spot for Ja'Ray Jenkins? There were 2 minutes and 18 seconds to go in the game, 3rd down. He's going out of bounds. They reviewed it and held it up. What did you think?
Look, we've been getting the other side of these calls all year. So if I'm being honest, since that's what I got to do here, I think he was short a little bit there. It didn't look like he ever kind of crossed that 1st down marker. But look, we've been getting the brunt of some wrong calls, some bad calls. So they're going to give us one. I'll take it. Pittman wasn't too happy to see that one. But, it happens.
Look, I understand how angles with film works and how you don't, unless you're looking straight down, there's a little bit of an illusion that plays there. I didn't see any part of his body get to the line to gain. I don't know what they looked at or what the discussion was with whoever in Birmingham. Or I think they just flat missed that one. I don't. It looked pretty obvious to me.
Yeah, I got my LSU colors on, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we just don't send this one into the SEC, but I don't know about that one. That was, Pittman wasn't too happy, and I don't have too many gripes with that one. That was, one that came in our favor, I guess.
Okay, I want to go back to this thing as a whole. You mentioned in the first segment thinking, you mentioned the term sleepy, kind of a letdown. We talked about it all week. I mean, I voiced my concern. Do you think there was a lack of energy and intensity early in the game, or do you think they just didn't play well?
I think the defense came out to play. No special teams blunders, so the special teams unit were solid. I mean, you almost got a fake punt, I guess, maybe. No, not really, but yeah, but no, I thought the defense came out to play, and you didn't have any special teams blunder. The offense just wasn't executing. Normally, you got to have all three phases going for you to have a complete performance, but for this team, you only had 2 out of 3 really going at a high enough level. So I just think if the offense kind of maybe puts up a couple touchdowns in that first half, defense playing the way they're playing, then possibly you can kind of pull away a little bit there. But you just really couldn't get any rhythm, no passing game, like under 100 yards passed in the SEC. It's just, someone tells you that before a game, you're probably not going to like your chances of winning that
2-0
one.
2-0 this year, under 100 passing yards.
Yeah, so, that just kind of goes to defense. A lot of turnovers in Auburn, and then obviously, we saw what Perk did in this game. So that's what you're going to have to need if your offense isn't playing to that level, and they got it and found a way to win this one.
When LSU doesn't play well against a lesser opponent or whatever, I think, and this goes for everybody who's a fan or an analyst of any team, the easiest thing to do is came out flat. I mean, that's the buzzword. Came out flat. It's like, okay, there's a difference between coming out with no energy and no intensity and just playing bad football. Mm-hmm. And I don't pretend to know exactly how fired up and intense and motivated the guys were on the field. Like, that's each individual's is different. But if you've got if you can see a total lack of hustle or there's something you can identify and point to, then I'm okay with it. But I'm going to need to see that. I just think they played bad football. I think the miscommunication that resulted in the interception is just a bad play. I think Jayden Daniels not protecting the football and the Arkansas coming in and punching it out, like, that's a hustle play by Arkansas, and Jayden Daniels didn't protect the football. Is it because he's not playing Alabama and he's not as excited because it's early in the morning? I don't think so. I think LSU just played bad football, and I think Arkansas's plan on defense was very good, and LSU took some time to adjust to it.
Yeah, no, they did. They had a great game plan. I think you got to tip your cap to Odom and what they did, and they kind of took some flavor from Ole Miss and took some flavor from Mississippi State. Now, I thought teams would kind of stick to that throughout the season, but they just really, really haven't. I think having the run game and Jayden pulling it out in the run game has helped a ton with that. But it seems like when you're rushing 3 and having a couple guys keeping their eyes on him and spying him and making sure he can't take off for 20 yards, he didn't play well against that particular defense and just really, held your passing attack. And it's really, like I said before, that's how you were able to score all these points with the vertical pass game, receivers making plays down the field. There was none of that in this game. And you take that complete avenue away, it's going to be really hard against SEC defenses to score a bunch of points. And that's kind of why you ended up with 13.
There were a couple of times, specifically on one of those 4th downs, where if Daniels keeps it, he probably makes a huge play. Mm-hmm. And he just didn't read it correctly and didn't make the play. But there were opportunities. I think when he watches the film and turns it on and sees some of the times they were crashing on Williams and Emery, and if he pulls it and takes it, he's got the ability to make a huge play. It just never happened.
Yeah, that was the big 4th and 1, and I knew. I mean, that's what you have to do against that play. You got to send an extra guy off the edge and take the mesh point away, and that's just an unblocked defender on a run play it's coming. And obviously, I don't know what the play was. Maybe it was just an actual inside zone. Normally, I would run read option every single time, give him that option to pull it out, but it could have just been an automatic give. We know just the runner that Josh is. I mean, he runs hard, but when there's an unblocked guy, it's almost impossible to kind of, make that guy miss coming from that angle. But if JD does pull that one, there's literally no one there in the alley for him to kind of take off.
Brian Burgess in the Bayou 4 chat says Daniels was just off the entire game. It was not a very good game for him, and that's like, we thought that they had kind of turned a corner there offensively, and they were going to be that identity for the rest of the season. Turns out there was another hiccup there, and they're going to have to look at the film, adjust, and get things better this week for UAB before they head to College Station after Thanksgiving. Opening hour here on a Monday, brought to you by The Shed Barbecue on Burbank. Great place to watch a game, great place to grab a drink. Tons of indoor seating area and tons of outdoor seating area as well. As the weather's cooled off, maybe nice to grab a bite outside. Head on by The Shed over there on Burbank. They can get you out real quick for lunch during the week. Come back with more. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hold down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill.
Reliable Roofing and Construction. Check them out at reliableroufingbr.com.
Yeah, so happy to tell you guys about Reliable Roofing, a family-run, owned, and operated residential roofing company. They've been in business since 2008 with over 30 years of roofing experience.
Lionel Hayes, born and raised in Baton Rouge, started his company in Baton Rouge to serve the Baton Rouge community. I've seen some really cool NIL deals that Reliable Roofing and Construction has done with some high school athletes around the area. Also in the roofing game, if you need a replacement or maybe just a repair, an inspection, Reliable Roofing and Construction can help you out. Every single job comes with a 5-year labor warranty. That means 5 years that roof is under warranty at Reliable Roofing and Construction. Check out the website, reliableroufingbr.com.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
All right, let's say ah.
It's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap a busy weekend on the gridiron. LSU at Arkansas, Saints, Steelers. Join us Mondays, AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Opening hour on a Monday brought to you by The Shed Barbecue. If you're going out to tailgate one last time for the UAB game and you need some delicious food, The Shed can help you up. Give them a day or two notice over there. Tell them what you want. You can pick it up on your way out to campus. 8 o'clock kickoff this coming weekend at LSU and UAB. Kickoff time announced for the Texas A&M game a couple of hours ago. That will be at 6 o'clock Central Time from Kyle Field. Earlier today, Jeremy, Brian Kelly had his weekly press conference, and said that he thought Greg Penn played clearly his best game as a Tiger in this one. Also mentioned DeQuaylen Roy as a guy who had an awesome game. We already know about Perkins, but I wanted to talk about Greg Penn a little bit shortly here. He led LSU in tackles with 9, had 2.5 tackles for loss. 5 of those tackles were solo. He broke up a pass as well. He also made one play where it looked like Hornsby was going to score. I mean, he was turning the corner and about to get into the open field where he is a legitimate track star. And Penn was engaged with a blocker and still was able to get out and grab him with one hand and bring him down. I thought that was one of the biggest plays of the game.
Yeah, no, I gave him a game ball after the game. That was the best I've seen him play all year. And a lot of times, obviously, as a player, when you're coming in and out of the game, it's really hard to get that rhythm and get that game flow. But to me, I think he put his best, 60 minutes of football together on Saturday, and you had to have it. I think the job that the entire defense did against their run game, I think was huge in this game, and he was a big part to do with that, getting guys on the ground. And that's, to me, was their only avenue. Like, really, with both of those backup quarterbacks, like, they had to get their run game going. And I thought Penn was a huge part of shutting that down. And you saw him obviously make that big-time tackle in open space. And to stop that touchdown, I thought that was huge because it was really, really hard for them to get in the end zone in the red zone area.
Yeah, I mean, look, Arkansas couldn't get the run game going. That's all we talked about all week is how they want to run the football, especially if KJ Jefferson doesn't play. And Rocket Sanders, who leads the conference in rushing, couldn't get going. 12 carries for 46 yards in the game. He averaged 3.8. Hornsby carried it 18 times for 37 yards. They couldn't get the run game going. And it's the same thing that Florida State couldn't really run the ball. Florida didn't really run the ball much. Auburn couldn't get it going. Ole Miss had trouble running the ball. Outside of Tennessee and some of Jahmyr Gibbs at Alabama, LSU's run defense has been pretty good this year.
No, it's been huge, and I think that's a big part to do with those two guys up the middle, and Wingo and Jaquaylin. They've been playing absolutely sensational, and you saw those guys just really make it tough to get to the middle of that defense, really have those big-time gashing runs we've seen Arkansas really have all season long, and to hold Rocket to 3.8 a carry, I thought was huge. Absolutely shut down Hornsby and his rushing attack. He's at 2.1 a clip, only 37 yards. Nothing real significant to really get that offense. Who didn't want to throw a single pass in this football game and getting drives going and scoring touchdowns. And I thought just them two really playing the whole game. I thought the effort that they gave was absolutely incredible, and they played that well all season long.
Mekhi Wingo is maybe the most underrated or under-talked about, certainly by this show, player on this team. We never bring him up because he doesn't make a lot of highlight reel plays, seemingly, but he's just good. He disrupts things in the middle. He slows down the run game. He can rush the passer a little bit. Again, we talk about Perkins and some of the guys in the secondary that make big plays, or we know Ojulari and Gay have come off the edge and have made a bunch of plays, but Wingo has steadily been a force on this team, and we just don't talk about it very much.
No, we really haven't. And I think that's obviously because a guy like Mason Smith coming to the season, he's all world. So he's got to get all the buzz, he's got to get all the love. But Wingo's really picked up where he left off last year as a freshman All SEC guy, and coming to LSU really kind of looked as a utility guy. We'll get you in here, get you in there, but to kind of become a starter in the middle of that defense and play to the level he has all year, just batting down passes, really making it tough, getting after the passer, just doing everything you want from a defensive tackle. He's done that, and I thought he's been really a godsend for, when you lose a player like Smith, you really think that defensive line's going to take a huge hit. He's really stepped up and really, embodied that next man up mentality and really played his tail off all season.
So as we kind of start to put a bow on this one for this hour, we're going to talk a little SEC at 2 o'clock, and then we'll talk a little NFL in the second hour as well. What was your overall reaction to this game? Was it emblematic of maybe some issues offensively moving forward? Do you think it was a trap game, maybe a lack of energy? Do you think Arkansas just had a good plan, LSU played poorly? Are you concerned moving forward after what you saw? I mean, look, that Arkansas is not a great team at full strength. Without KJ Jefferson, they stink, and that's not a game you should have lost. Really was closer than it should have been. So what big picture overall were your impressions from the game?
Yeah, I think for me, I think this is obviously when you got one of the best, if not the best, defensive player in the country, that's going to help you a ton going forward. I think he really, stated that claim, and to really have that defense, who we saw last year give up some plays, 2020 give up some plays. They've been really solid and better than advertised going into the season when you really look at all the guys in the transfer portal and just everything that this defense has done and the job Matt House has done in a game like that where you really couldn't give up any big plays and to figure out a way for 4 quarters to really, stifle that offense. That was one possession away from most of that game. So, giving up one more play and being down, I think you got to give credit to the defense and special teams. As you haven't seen many drop punt returns and many drop. Don't want to jinx. I'll cross my fingers on this too. But the special teams has really gotten better. I just think for the offense, kind of getting back to what you were doing those last 3 weeks. And I think that's been an offense that's very explosive with plays. And obviously you can run and pass and just be balanced that way and really make defenses guess. I think in a game like this where everyone in the stadium knows the run's coming, it got to a point in that game where you just knew that was coming. And obviously getting JD back to, the level he was playing. And I think, he can do that. We've seen him. We've played a ton of college football, and we've kind of seen him have those games where you count him out and he can, bounce back and, get back going. So I think going forward this week against a UAB team, get back going, get this offense back going, get the passing game going, get that confidence back, and that way you can finish off the Aggies in style. That would be great.
That's the most important thing this week is correcting yourself. I mean, theoretically, it doesn't really matter what UAB does on Saturday. You ought to be able to handle the 5-5 Blazers to this point, who lost to Rice. But it does matter against A&M, and I'm a little concerned because I'm watching, and even I, the novice football advisor, am going, okay, this is clearly a plan Arkansas has. They're putting 3 down linemen. The other 8 people are dropping. Every time Jayden Daniels takes a step towards the line of scrimmage, there are 2 guys that are there waiting for him because they're not going to let him get loose and run. So you're going to have to come up with some stuff over the next 2 weeks to beat that zone look, to beat those zone pressures, to help your offensive linemen, and know that you're not going to be able to just drop back and have Daniels take off and run. That worked against Florida State for a half, but you can't do that as much. So I think Arkansas may have unlocked a little something. Obviously, LSU will now get to look at the tape and prepare and do better from it. It was good that it happened in this game against a team that didn't have an offense that could punch back, so that you got out alive and didn't have to learn a lesson with a loss. You can learn a lesson with a win, which is a lot easier, a lot more fun. But I do think that they're going to have to look at this and go, okay, this is something that teams are going to do against us. We got to have a better plan to attack it.
Yeah, you definitely do. And I think that's something I thought we would see a lot more of, and teams just don't learn their lesson. They try to rush forward in traditional pass rush, and you just get lit on fire. That's what he's got to do. You get out your rush lanes. And so I think teams are going to do what Arkansas did. It's going to, they're going to scratch where it itches. And I think that's just forcing JD to, do what he's kind of shown he will do when he doesn't want to turn the ball over and hold the ball. And when you do that against SEC defensive linemen and these coordinators, it's just you're giving them a layup to, get a sack and put you behind the sticks and really make it very difficult for you to move the ball. So I think obviously that's going to be being preached to him all week long. Maybe they put some more RPOs in there. Maybe they try to, mix some little slants and quick plays where you can get the ball out quick and really just not force him to hold the ball and do these long developing plays, and where he's holding the ball and looking, and we know he wants to find a wide open receiver. So you're not throwing it in tight windows. You're just, making it very, very difficult for your offensive line time and time again. So I think that's something they'll fix. We've seen this coaching staff. I'm not going to doubt this coaching staff at this point. We've seen them kind of fix some stuff and fix their errors and fix their wrongs. And I think you got to do that, going into these last 2 weeks so you can feel like you have a chance when you go to the SEC championship.
Man, it looked like September out there on offense for a lot of that game. Just the same stuff that we saw a month ago. We thought that was in the rearview mirror. It wasn't quite, but hopefully LSU can learn from that moving forward. Opening hour here on a Monday, brought to you by The Shed Barbecue on Burbank. Get on by there for a late lunch if you're feeling hungry for some brisket, pulled pork, mac and cheese. They got the greens, got your potato salad. Great food over there at The Shed Barbecue. Come back and close out hour number 1 next. It's Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Love telling you about One Bath and Closets. Check out the website, onebathandclosets.com. David Duvall and his crew have been in the business for 3 decades. If you're not happy with your bathroom setup currently, let David Duvall and his crew come in and handle it. They're a one-stop shop. You don't have to call a floor guy and then a plumbing guy and then a lights guy and then a wall. No, David Duvall and his crew can handle it. They are licensed contractors. If you need some significant construction in that renovation, they can handle it. Or you just want to maximize the space that you've got, use it more efficiently, David Duvall and his crew can do it. The tub-to-shower conversions are very, very popular. If you got that tub right there you never use and you want to put a gorgeous walk-in shower, One Bath and Closets can do it. And if you're not happy with your closet layout currently, let David Duvall and his crew come in, start the process with a questionnaire, understand what you've got, understand what you want, and customize a solution for you. If you tell them Hunt and Hill sent you over there to One Bath and Closets, 30% off your closet remodel. 30% off at One Bath and Closets. David Duvall and his crew are the best. You can check out their work at onebathandclosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
I've got that blue sky, I've got that sunshine.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code
Me, Jimmy out at Charles Handegrift. Monday, 6 to 8 p.m., we're at Spoken Hub Restaurant on Government Street in Mid-City. We recap the weekend pro and college football. Game Time presented by Bet Rivers on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Go over our SEC gambling picks from Friday at 2 o'clock, at the top of hour number 2. We'll talk about the Aggies then, but I did just see a quote on Twitter from one of the Texas A&M players. I will clean the language up just a little bit for radio, but he said that A&M wants to urinate in LSU's cornflakes. So that's the goal for the Aggies coming up in a couple of weeks.
Wait. Quick question. What bowl game are they projected to go to?
They will not be in a bowl game this year. They get the Christmas holidays off. They can do whatever they want. They can go play golf. They can go hunting. They can sit on the couch. They can do anything they want in December because they will have the month off. I want to remind you, 104.5 ESPN at Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust are in the spirit to rock your holidays with $15,000 cash. It's our 15K holidays. Head to 1045ESPN.com and register to win a $15,000 national cash prize or $1,500 in a local cash prize. The 15K Holidays is powered by Citizens Bank and Trust and 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. I want to wrap up our discussion with LSU Arkansas with Josh Williams, who you would not have talked about very much at all in August, who has become the lead back for this team. I think Armani Goodwin was trending that way early in the season. He obviously had to miss some time with that hamstring injury, but Josh Williams has stepped in and done a really nice job. He has run it on Saturday 19 times for 122 yards and LSU's lone touchdown, averaged 6 yards a carry, picked up a huge third down, has been a really solid player for this team.
No, he really has. And to go back to the first game of the season, to see that guy get one carry in that game, to him really becoming the lead back as a former walk-on is, I think, a story that can never go untalked about, because what he's been doing is he's becoming a solid SEC running back, and I don't think anyone kind of predicted that early on. I think we all were calling for Emory. He still shows flashes, got to hold on to that ball, but I think for Williams, I think adding the ability to make guys miss in open space is just a dimension of his game that – we really didn't see much of. He was, hard-nosed runner, running through tackles, running through people. But to see him kind of open it up in that game and really juke some guys in open field, I thought, showed a dimension that I really didn't think he had. And to me, that's, why they, have him as lead back. He was absolutely incredible in that game.
Hester knows his story a little better than I do. I just know what I've heard Jacob talk about on the air. And I think that Josh Williams had some opportunities to be a scholarship player at the D1 level. He wanted to go to LSU, and so he came to LSU and decided to walk on. So there is some talent there. He was not a guy that was just totally overlooked in high school. He had an opportunity to go play, but it's my understanding he chose to play at LSU. So while LSU's had a legion of NFL backs over the years that have been really, really good players, he's not in that mold, and I don't think he's going to earn too much money playing football, is my opinion on the matter. But right now, LSU needs him, and he's done a really good job. Emory was banged up again on Saturday. Kane's gotten his shots here and there, and Goodwin has been worked in kind of sparingly since he got hurt. But Williams has become kind of the go-to back.
Yeah, he really has, and he's earned that right. I think, and obviously in that Alabama game, he's just been making big plays all season long. Had the big-time run against Florida, and he's kind of just taken over this play. With his play on the field, he's been absolutely, a guy that they can depend on. Obviously, I think the dimension that makes him really stay on the field is his pass blocking. He's not scared to stick his head in there and take on the right guy and know where those guys are coming from and help this offensive line out a ton. And you mix that in with just how hard he runs the ball, short yardage or open field, just whatever you really need from a running back. He's been able to do that, and I think, he's definitely going to be something that they depend on heavily going forward.
They sure will. So, I mean, look, we talked about it all week, and I had a little bit of concern about this game. I kind of figured that KJ Jefferson would play, and then it turned out on Friday that things kind of turned for the worse, and it didn't look like he was going to play. Hornsby was he was a little bit worse than I had expected. I mean, at least he made some plays against Mississippi State. He couldn't do really anything on Saturday, and Fortin came in and gave him a little bit of a spark. But I guess my concern was fairly well-founded. Arkansas came out, and I don't think it went the way that I thought it would. I thought that Arkansas would score and LSU would score. It would be more of a higher-scoring game. Turns out the Tiger defense showed up and did what it had to do while the offense was kind of limping along. They just put them on their back and said, we'll get you to the finish line. But it's a hurdle cleared, and like we did to start the show, the most important thing is that LSU right now sits here at 6-1 in the league, and they win the Western Division. That's an amazing accomplishment.
No, it is. It's absolutely incredible. And I know you always want to play your best brand of football and ride out, on that Trojan horse. But I think for this team, just getting to this point of the season and just being at the top of the SEC West and just really, realizing what you accomplished, I think that's a huge feat in year one for any coach, especially kind of look at where this program was in this roster and just how, at some points this season they played, and to give yourself an opportunity to, go to the SEC championship. I think it's just a great effort from all around, from the coaching staff to the players. And I think, obviously getting a week like this where you can kind of start feeling great about yourself again on both sides of the ball and try to get that momentum going, and when you kind of play the way you did. But it still doesn't take away what you accomplished, and I think that's something you can't just scoff over.
I mean, I opened last Monday with not really an apology. That's not the right word, but just kind of like a, how could I have seen this coming type deal. And now to sit back here and see them as champions of the West, it's just it was not a realistic thought in August. If you had that thought that they really could win the West, then you're just a blind homer who just is always going to say they have a chance to win the West, which doesn't necessarily make you as right. I guess it was the right way to look at this one for sure. But we were trying to be as dead level honest as we could based on the state of the program and what we thought the league was. It turns out the West is not as strong as we thought. Arkansas is not very good. We thought they would be. A&M has totally bottomed out. Auburn is atrocious. I mean, these are not things that we anticipated. Now, Tennessee was better than we thought, and that, unfortunately, was LSU's crossover game this year. But there was no way I could have sat here and given you a reasonable expectation that this team could win the Southeastern Conference West. It was not a reasonable thought to have in August.
Yeah, I think especially going into the season, like you really didn't even know who the starting quarterback was going to be. And I think, everyone knows I was pushing us a little bit, and then obviously JD5 got the nod. But there are just so many unanswered questions with this football team without kind of seeing them go out on the field. And I think seeing the way they played against Florida State probably get you a lot more concerns than you probably had preseason. But to see them turn around to this point, and obviously that huge Alabama win and getting to the top of the SEC West, it's a feat that I don't think anyone could have predicted, and it's absolutely incredible to see them at the top and the Aggies at the bottom.
It's as improbable a run, a season as I can remember. Now, I hadn't been around for 35 years, but I can't recall a more improbable run than the one LSU just went on. Absolutely stunning stuff. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge is excited to see pro hockey coming back to the Raising Cane's River Center this winter. Tickets start at just $10 for games at Ticketmaster.com and the Raising Cane's River Center box office. You can keep listening for your chance to win some from us. Sign up to win at 1045ESPN.com. That'll do it for our first hour here on a Monday, always brought to you by The Shed Barbecue. If you're looking to tailgate for LSU UAB, you want some delicious barbecue at your tailgate, let The Shed know a day or two early. They will have it ready for you to pick up right on your way out to campus. Appreciate The Shed for being here each and every Monday. If you missed any of today's first hour, check it out on demand, 1045ESPN.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you catch your audio. We are there on Hunt and Hill. We'll come back and talk SEC football, our gambling picks. Little Saints to get to an hour or two, unfortunately. Come back with us after Sports Center. It's Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 60 months on new 2022 Ford F-150s. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I am Juliette, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis. But I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother, and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Kevin Winter. Tragedy last night at the University of Virginia campus. 3 members of the football team shot and killed by a former member of the team, Devin Chandler, Lavelle Davis Jr., Dustin Deshaun Perry. Part of a group of students returning from a field trip last night on the Charlottesville campus when they were killed. 2 other university students were also injured. Police have arrested Christopher Darnell Jones Jr., a former walk-on with the team in 2018, who never played a game. They charged him with 3 counts of second-degree murder, 3 counts of using a handgun in the commission of a felony. Virginia, by the way, has canceled tonight's basketball game against UNI. On the football field yesterday, the Minnesota Vikings have now won 7 straight games, all by 1 score. This after they beat the Bills in overtime. Buffalo now goes to 6-3. They're a game back of Kansas City in the loss column for the number 1 seed, a half game back of the Dolphins for the top spot of the division. Buffalo's actually the 6th seed overall in the AFC East. Packers have a 5-game losing streak. They have an overtime win over Dallas. The Green Bay rushing game was for over 200 yards against the Dallas D.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
1, 2, 3. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour 2, Hunt and Hill with you on a Monday, getting the work week started off right. Appreciate y'all for hanging with us here. All right, let's talk some SEC football, Jeremy. I think you'll be excited to have this conversation because your picks went very well over the weekend. Mine, of course, did not. But that's par for the course. We've just been awful since a really hot start. I was 3-3 on the weekend. I cashed Tennessee covering the 20.5 against Missouri. I cashed Florida -8 against South Carolina, and cashed Georgia covering the 16 against Mississippi State. I did not get home with Kentucky. They were laying 18 against Vanderbilt and lost. I did not get home with Bama laying 12 points. They only won by 6. And I did not get home with the Texas A&M Aggies, who did not cover against Auburn. But Jeremy, it was a solid week. Cashed Tennessee, cashed Ole Miss, cashed Florida, cashed Georgia, cashed Auburn. The only one that didn't get home for you was Kentucky. A 5-1 week. You take over the lead with 2 weeks remaining in our little contest here. First time you've had a lead in 2 years.
Look,
so we'll see if you can get to the finish line.
We're 500 and we're charging to be above. Look, it's got to be. It's against the spread. It's against a number. Like we got to get above 500. I'll feel happy about the season. It's always very tricky to do. And I went with you with Vanderbilt. And what happened? I went with the number 3 overall pick on the draft board.
I cannot pick a Vandy game correctly. Cannot do it. I think I'm 0 for the year on Vanderbilt. I cannot pick a Vanderbilt game. It is the most maddening thing. You have a 50% chance. Just pick one side. I can't get it done. But that's not where we're going to start. We are going to start in Oxford, Mississippi, where the Alabama Crimson Tide got it done again. Another road game where they do not assert their dominance that we expect. And quite frankly, here's a question I was posing to some people yesterday. A.J. McCarron started an NFL game. He was a Heisman finalist. Good player. Greg McElroy won a national championship, started multiple NFL games at quarterback. We're not talking about bums here.
Mm-hmm.
Good players. If either one of those 2 guys was on Alabama's football team, they would be 6-4 as a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
They are only 8-2 because Bryce Young is that good.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Which is amazing to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those guys are throwing to Julio Jones and Amari Cooper, and they don't have that guy on this team, and that's just such a godsend for a quarterback. When anytime you just see one-on-one matchups on the outside, you just go to that guy. It's just still burned in my brain. Amari just lighting us up in 2013. We'll talk about that another day though. But yeah, me and Handy were talking about it Saturday. He's like, oh man, Ole Miss won't even storm the field because Alabama stinks. So I'm like, hold your horses. They got Bryce. And then obviously they started so bad to that football game, fumbling the ball, not really executing on offense. And to only be down 7 at halftime, I'm like, yeah, Bryce isn't losing this game. And he's just so special, and it's so hard to deal with. And you don't have Harold Perkins out there to kind of run him down and make him get the ball out quick. To see what he's doing with these weapons, extending plays time and time again. It's like he's rushing for more yards in the backfield, extending plays, and actually like forward, just doing the things that he does. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Without that guy, this season just goes absolutely terrible for the Tide. But, I'll take them not winning the SEC West. I'll settle for that.
Look, if I had a Heisman vote, I would vote for Bryce Young. I mean, he's that good. It's remarkable. And Ole Miss did a really good job running the football, running their offense. They had control of the game early. Quinshon Judkins is such a find for them. He had 135 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. We know that Zach Evans went out with concussion deal. But Ole Miss had every opportunity to win it there late, going right down the field. And they were running a 2-minute offense by running the ball and hitting big chunk plays with Quinshon Judkins, and they just couldn't get it done at the end. And really, it pains me to say this, but I guess we've already beaten them and we've won the West, so I can throw some compliments their way. Like, it's a credit to Alabama that they continue to win these games on the road. I mean, yeah, they've gotten tripped up twice at the end. I mean, the last play of the game for Tennessee with a field goal, and then the last play of the game for LSU going for 2. I mean, but they continue to win a lot of these games on the road, even though they're not their normal dominant self. And that was really the story for me on Saturday is like, yeah, they're not a lot better than everybody like they usually are, but they still usually find a way to win.
Yeah, and when you got the quarterback that's to that level, obviously a Heisman winner. To me, you name all those Bama quarterbacks. You want to throw 2 when they want to throw Mac Jones in there. He's the best. He's the best they've had in doing what he's doing with the weapons. All those guys had multiple first-round picks at receiver. I don't think he has any that he's throwing to right now. And I think just seeing him doing what they're doing, what I think it's not one of those offensive lines from 2011 and really not those backs. I mean, Gibbs is special, but he's underutilized. And obviously, he got knocked out of this game. And so to see him doing that without like a super, super dominant run game and super, super dominant first-round receivers on the outside it's incredible. And they're not at where they are this season without him playing the way he is.
I will say this. Neil McCready and Chase Parham do an awesome job covering Ole Miss. I enjoy their content. They do a lot of stuff on YouTube. And they had a podcast this morning, and I just kind of wanted to take the pulse of what Ole Miss was feeling. So I tuned in for about 15 minutes this morning. 100% of the 15 minutes I listened to were talking about Lane Kiffin and going to Auburn. 100% of it. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if that's John Cohen's guy. I know there have been some people like Brandon Marcello that have thrown some things around, but they are taking it seriously in Oxford, and that's a real story that we'll have to look. Tommy Tuberville made that exact jump once upon a time from Ole Miss to Auburn. We'll see if it happens again.
Former neighbor Tommy Tuberville when he was coaching at UC. So, I think that's kind of the first tea leaves you heard. The second that job opened up and Harsin was fired, that was a name that was just obviously thrown around a ton. And obviously Lane's making, $7 million or something like that right now. They're going to have to – I mean, Auburn has the money. They're going to have to break out that Brinks truck for Lane, and it's going to be north of $80, $90 million to get him to, obviously leave his situation that he created at Ole Miss. But it's tough, man, and I think right now I think that's a great time to take that job with everyone thinking Alabama's less chinks in that armor. They're not the same. They're going to fall off. What are they going to do? And they've been there time and time again, so I'm not going to count them out just yet. But I think for Lane, that's something that I could definitely see in that wheelhouse with Auburn probably breaking out that Brinks truck to kind of hire a guy like that.
Ole Miss better not show up drunk in Fayetteville on Saturday. I mean, that's an incredibly deflating loss they just suffered right at the end of the game against Alabama on their home field. Had a chance to go to Atlanta potentially if things break the right way. They went out and LSU loses in College Station. And now that's all off the table. So we'll see if they show up motivated and ready to go against Arkansas coming up on Saturday. That's a huge game for them. I got a couple texts on Saturday night watching Auburn and A&M. Like, why is Auburn just on fire right now? This crowd is so fired up. It was like, this is the equivalent of LSU firing Curly Hallman and promoting Tyrann Mathieu to be the head coach. Like, that's what you saw in Auburn. And that place was so inspired and so motivated. And it's a little bit of a different place. I talked about this a little bit on Friday. Auburn is little brother. And because of that, in that state, it's just a very tight-knit group. And Carnell Williams is a legend there, and he loves that place. Mm-hmm. And so there was no doubt that place was going to be packed and the guys were going to be ready to go. Now, they're not any good, so they may not win, but they were going to be fired up and ready to go, and they were, and their defense played awesome. And that's the Auburn side of it. We'll get to the Aggies next. But from the Auburn side, it was pretty cool to watch that place rally around Cadillac and then to have one great night, which has been an awful season.
No, it definitely has, and that's something me and you joked about going into that game is you got Bigsby, you got Hunter, and Asher can run a little bit. Did they run the ball a lot that game? Yeah, pretty sure they did. Anytime their quarterback had 6 completions and 2 interceptions in a football game.
Yep.
You had to get Hunter going.
55 runs.
Yeah, you had to get that run game going, especially, with that Texas A&M offense really not having a pulse at all. I thought they had the generational quarterback. Be able to get a little more than 10, but we'll talk about that later. But I think for Auburn in that atmosphere, I saw the video of that team walking out that tunnel. That place was absolutely electric. Don't know why, they're interviewing Cadillac trying to run out the tunnel, but that's
Cole Kubelik, who's an Auburn guy. They knew each other. I think they set that up first.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that atmosphere is absolutely electric and kind of put the nail in the coffin for the Aggies. I think I could say go Tigers. Yeah, go Tigers. Yeah, that's cool.
You want to do A&M now? Or you want to take a time? We need to expand on A&M a little bit more. So let's take a quick time out. We'll stay on track, and then we'll talk about the Aggies when we come back on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal. They're elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana each and every month here on Hunt and Hill. It's November. That means we're telling you about Molly Kimball and Eat Fit.
Yeah, Molly Kimball is a registered dietitian, nutrition journalist, and founder of Ochsner Eat Fit, created in 2013 as a resource for all things wellness. Eat Fit is a nonprofit initiative of Ochsner Health that works to make the healthy choice the easy choice through collaborative partnerships with restaurants, markets, and other food service establishments.
Had a date night on Friday night with the wife. Saw some Eat Fit on the menu right there, and that's because there's 500 different local partnerships that Molly Kimball and Eat Fit join in. They're helping Louisiana restaurants put delicious food on the table that is good for you, and that helps everybody involved. Helps our economy, so it helps our great people stay healthy. In addition to Eat Fit, Molly works to bridge the gap between the idea of wellness and real life through other ventures like her weekly podcast and weekly TV segment on WGNO. That's why we're so thrilled to tell you about Molly Kimball, this month's champion of Louisiana. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 1 more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money.
On Tuesday's OTB, fresh off a couple of 70-point dubs, we'll talk to LSU women's head coach Kim Mulkey, and Nick Underhill stops by to talk Saints and try to make sense of, well, everything. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hope your Monday is off to a good start. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here at Hunt and Hill. All right, let's get to it, Jeremy. Obviously, a lot is made of how much we talk about Texas A&M on this show. I've been very clear about my disdain for Texas A&M and why it is. It's because I see potential in A&M that is not realized. There is no potential in Starkville. There is no potential in Fayetteville. Like, they're never going to be great football programs that are a threat to a dominant LSU. A&M could if they figure it out. They have the ability. They're in a really rich recruiting place. They've got a ton of money in facilities. They have the ability. They just haven't realized it. With all that being said, that football program is broken. And Jimbo Fisher is never going to fix it. It's broken. Not only are they atrocious on the football field, offensively and defensively, they've lost the locker room. You have had this year players sneaking out on Friday night before the Miami game. You have had players smoking weed in the locker room. And on Saturday, you had your best receiver reportedly refusing to play because he wouldn't take his sleeves off. It is an abject disaster over in College Station, and it's not going to get better. They are going to have a monstrous exodus from the transfer portal because no one wants to be there and knows it's toxic. I don't know how they're going to hire a coordinator when you have to come in and know that Jimbo Fisher is a year or two from being canned. That's what we went through in Baton Rouge 2 years ago. And you ended up with Jake Peets and Durante Jones, who no one had ever heard of. It's broken in College Station, period.
I think it's a beautiful sight to see. I just love cutting the Aggies on Saturday and watching the number 6 team preseason in the country, the number 1 recruiting class, saving where the dead bodies are buried. All this just great talk and just amazing, just, jattering up their teeth and their jaws. It's just a beautiful thing to see them at the bottom of the SEC West. Like, that's great. So I think they need to keep Jimbo as a coordinator. He's a national championship winning coach. What he can do with that offense, the potential, just more recruiting classes, just everything. I love how everything is going in College Station right now. We need to see more of it. It's just great football. Amazing.
Your sarcasm is well received. Look, I keep a little bit of a tab on TexAgs over there, and I read the message boards and understand. I think Billy Lucci does a great job of being fairly realistic. He is biased, but everyone is aware of that. I mean, it's the exact same job I do. I'm biased too. It's just the way everybody's from somewhere, as Scott Van Pelt would say. But the entire fan base, 100% of the fan base, has turned on Jimbo. There's not a single person that gets on there and says, "Yeah, I think this team's young. We'll get it together." And not one. And they were all hanging on to this one performance by Wigman to say that's the savior, that's where the optimism comes. And then you go up and show up again in Auburn, Alabama to play what was the worst team in the West, and Wigman goes 14 of 36 in the game and gets sacked 100 times. They've crushed any optimism and hope. There was so much of it in College Station because of the recruiting class, because of beating Bama last year, because they just pumped a bunch of money into the stadium, and there was a lot of forward-thinking momentum. There's none. Everyone's quit on Jimbo. I think it's only going to get worse in terms of the transfer portal. It's on fire in College Station, and they're not going to be able to put it out.
That was the thing that they had going for them. They had that hope of like a sleeping giant in the recruiting classes and the money and the new facilities, and Johnny won the Heisman and all this potential. But when you really look at it outside of that COVID year, it's really not been that great. And I think for them now, it's hard to see that sleeping giant. It looks like it's, especially when you look in Baton Rouge, obviously you're not going to just scoff over Alabama, and you kind of just even see what Ole Miss is doing right now in the SEC. It's like, why do we have everything at our disposal, everything any college program could ever ask for, and great decision by Harold, way to decommit from that school. You would be like sick to your bones right now if you had to play for the Aggies right now. So good job, Harold. But yeah, I think everything they could look forward to is just all that's out the window. And obviously with all the money that's left to pay to Jimbo, it's like you can't just X that problem out. Like I don't see any program paying that type of buyout money as much as they want him out of town. I just don't see that happening, and I don't know if Jimbo has the ego or the pride to put it to the side and say, you know what, I'm gonna give up play calling. This is how I made my name in college football. I've won a national championship calling plays. Like, I can fix this. I got the players. I got this. I got that. I don't see him doing that. Who's he going to let come in there and call plays, and when things start going bad, you think he's going to let him keep calling bad plays? He's probably going to step in and say, no, I got this again. And so it's a problem that I think is great for us as LSU fans. I just love seeing it. Let's just see Jimbo call plays for another year. But I don't know where they go to fix this, because everything you could have ever asked for just absolutely went to the bottom of the SEC West. I don't think things could be absolutely worse for a Texas A&M fan right now.
No, I mean, they've lost 6 games in a row. They're 1-6 in the league. They're likely going to finish the year 4-8. Let's hope LSU can go take care of business in Kyle Field in a couple of weeks, but we'll talk about that at a later date. That's the interesting thing that you were just bringing up, is that Ross Bjork, the athletic director over at A&M, is going to have to go into Jimbo Fisher's office and have a conversation that's not phrased like this, but this will be the gist of the conversation. Okay, we pay you $10 million a year. You will not coach the offense. You will get out of the way and let someone else do the job you've been doing for 30 years. You're not qualified or good enough to do this, and it's ruining the football program. Someone else has to do it. Now, he won't say it that way, but this is a radio program, so we can spice it up a little bit. That's the gist of the conversation.
Yeah.
It can't go any other way. And we remembered Ed Ogeron and Steve Ensminger had a conversation about, quote-unquote, going to the spread, and Steve Ensminger said, I don't know how to run that. You're going to have to get someone to come do it. And Steve Ensminger has zero ego, and Jimbo Fisher has a massive ego. So it's going to go far differently, but that's what has to happen, because they went out there and scored 10 points. I get it. You had injuries on the offensive line. A-Chain's not out there. Anaya Smith's not out there. You're on a freshman quarterback. Like, I get some of the other things, but they don't ever score. Their offense stinks. And so they're going to have to do something differently. They have $86 million. If one or two guys just say, hey, if it's just the contract, we can fix that. They've got that money if somebody wants to do it, but I don't think that they will. But there is no debate whether or not Jimbo Fisher is employed solely because of his contract. If you in your 5th year at any school in the Southeastern Conference Western Division go 1-7 in the league in your 5th season, you are fired. Anywhere. Vanderbilt's the exception in the league, so I can't say the whole league. But if you go 1-7 anywhere in year 5, you are fired. He would not coach against LSU if he didn't have a guaranteed contract.
Thank you, Scott Woodward. That was a great hire. I just love it. Things just played out so perfectly with that hire. But yeah, it's an impossible situation for everyone involved with Texas A&M right now. If you're a fan, you're disgusted by what you watch Saturday after Saturday with all that preseason hope. And, as an administration, you just gave this guy all this guaranteed money, and the play on the field is just nowhere near matching, especially all the hope. I think everyone was building up that Alabama game. It's going to be the game of the century, the Fighting Aggies. Got Desmond picking them to go to the college football playoff. And
that one didn't work out. Is that the first preseason national championship pick to go 1-7 in the league and finish last in the conference?
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be. It just just bad right now. And I like I said before, I don't know how they fix it. I honestly don't think Jimbo is from that nature where, you know what, I've gotten to this point. I've gotten all this money calling plays and doing all the things I've done as a coordinator, as a play caller, to just let someone else, like what guy is going to like match up to Jimbo's resume and like, you know what, I'll let that guy call plays because I'm getting paid all this money and I'll just, you know, say if we go for it or punt the ball. Like I don't see that happening for Jimbo. He's got to keep calling plays, and I think if it keeps going like this, it's going to be just even more beautiful. It would be a whole nother season of just beautiful A&M football.
I'm curious what greets LSU in College Station as far as the turnout and the environment and then the effort level of the team. A&M, like Auburn I was talking about, a very tight-knit fan base that generally speaking does show up. And so I think because they hate LSU and it's thing, you know, they'll show up. I think that'll be a pretty good crowd. As far as the energy from the team, the stuff that I mentioned, the smoking weed in the locker room, those guys are not around right now. They're suspended indefinitely. Guys not wearing sleeves. That's hard to come back from and to fall in line after you make a scene like that and let your guys down like that by not being able to play. You're talking about the people missing curfew. Like, it just feels like a locker room that doesn't really want to be there. I mean, I don't know another way to say it. And in this era, when you get a get-out-of-jail-free card, you can go wherever you want, whenever you want, and not sit out. It just feels like guys are going to have their heads and eyes looking elsewhere. And if that's the case when they show up against LSU, you would think the Tigers would have a real good chance to run them off the field.
Yeah, I think you always got to look at that. And I kind of wanted the build up. I wanted their playoff, or not even playoff, God forbid, playoff, their bowl eligibility to be on the line in that last week. But now that's out of the picture. So
they're playing out the string now. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, so as a player that's been through a terrible season, obviously with all that hope in the preseason, we got this guy, we got that guy, we got all these players, and you get to the point where it's the last game of the year against an LSU team that's automatically going to the SEC championship. It'd be different. Like, I'd be a little worried if they could knock LSU out of going to the SEC.
Oh, I was dreading it all week.
Yeah, you can beat this team, and guess what? They're still going to Atlanta, so we can't go to a bowl game either. So you go down early in this game, and we hate our coach. We don't like being here. We're probably going to be in the portal.
Crowds booing or leaving. I mean, it can get toxic.
It's a bad scene for them, and especially, you know, playing that full season. It's the last game. Like, okay, like, what are you going to do next? Like, there's nothing after this. We're probably looking to go to another school. And so if they go out, that offense looks bad, and, you know, they can't get first downs. Perkins has probably got 4 sacks by halftime. I see that crowd booing. I see that offense not lighting the world on fire. And it's just going to be a great time for me. I'm just going to enjoy that entire night. It's going to just be beautiful football.
I'm going to look up what their recruiting class looks like for this year, you know, because I don't think it's very good at this point in the calendar. They just had that massive decommitment last week. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at a class that only has 11 commitments right now that's ranked 23rd in the country. For perspective, LSU right now has 25 commitments.
Wait, what about the great coaching staff and our great culture and the great city of College Station, and what we're building here is so great? And what happened?
And at least 3 of the guys from that class, at minimum, are going to leave. Denver Harris is one of them because he's already gone. Mario Andretti in a parking garage, skipped curfew and missed the Miami game, and then smoked weed in the locker room. I don't think he's going to be back. You know, the rest of the guys, we'll see, whatever. But you're going to lose some of those guys. It's just there's an inflection point in a coaching tenure where you can't fix it. It's gone, and they passed it. They've passed the point where they can fix it. I mean, theoretically, if you try to come up with a way that Texas A&M can fix this, you have to try to re-recruit your roster, the guys that want to be there, and then go sign a monster portal class and hope that Connor Wigman is a all-conference quarterback. But all these dominoes falling in place just doesn't make any sense. I mean,
as a player, who would want to transfer there right now? Like, what would, like, there's all these options in the country right now. Why would you go?
Players.
Is that going to move the needle in the SEC? So it's like, yeah, if you want to play on that stage as a smaller school, I mean, we saw Coach Kelly just do that, but that's what you're going to be pulling from. You're going to lose all the talented guys that had all this promise in future, and then obviously if you're another guy who wants more playing time, or you're obviously not happy with your situation, why would you go to that program and where it's standing right now? You're absolute. Vanderbilt has a better record. Did I just say that?
Better record than A&M.
Did I just say that?
Yes.
The Doors?
The Doors. Oh my God.
Power rankings are going to be fun.
The power rankings on Wednesday. I've already got eyes on it, so I know where things are headed. It's an inevitability at this point.
It's going to be so great.
Come back and talk a little bit about the Saints, and LSU basketball had a game on Saturday as well. And we'll close things out with some Take It or Leave It. It's Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. with Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford. Check out that inventory at BayouFord.com. 75% of customers at Bayou Ford customize their vehicles. 50% never set foot on the lot. That's the way car shopping is done. You head over to the website, check and see what you like. If they've got it, fire away. If they don't, they can customize a vehicle for you, whether it's the Explorer, Expedition. They've got the Broncos. They've got the Mustangs. Anything and everything for you, the Ford driver over there at Bayou Ford.
Yeah, head over to BayouFord.com. They've got a new special tab that updates daily. It's complete with a photo of the vehicle, the savings you could score, as well as a video profiling all of its features. Don't see anything you love. That's okay. Keep coming back because those deals will update on the site as Bayou Ford rolls them out. It's all right there at BayouFord.com.
Check out that website, BayouFord.com. Bayou Ford, they're going to do right by you.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit. We get it done with passion for our fans and love for our community. We are the Tigers. Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Enter now for a chance to win a catch and cook fishing experience from the Louisiana Charter Boat Association with me, Chef Jay Ducote, winner of Beat Bobby Flay. Register now at gocatch.com. That's GEAUX catch.com.
They said I was small, weak, said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like, again and again and again. Mom got me the right care, the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them the right card, the right care.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite.
It's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap a busy weekend on the gridiron. LSU at Arkansas, Saints, Steelers. Join us Monday's AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Okay, so we just talked about A&M and how they're reached the point of no return. I'm close to that with the Saints. Whoa. I don't. They could not run the football at all yesterday. Dalton is not good. Their defense is fine, but it's not what it needs to be. And the Steelers are atrocious, and the Steelers beat them up. And I don't know how it gets better. I don't know what your answer is at quarterback. You don't have draft picks. You've got an aging roster. In August, I was saying, like, it is year one of a new coach, but it's not like we got to rebuild this thing. Like, it's set to go now. Like, you got to go win now. Cam Jordan, Tyrann Mathieu, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram. These guys aren't young players. Mario Davis is not a young player. Like, you got to get it in gear, go, and they've bottomed out, and I don't know how you turn it around. As an organization, I'm not even talking about this year. This year's cooked. I don't know how you turn it around for next year or the year after that. There is a massive amount of overhaul that's got to go on with the New Orleans Saints.
That's the biggest problem with kicking the can down the road with the salary cap. It really ties your hand and puts your hands behind your back every offseason, and now you get rid of your first-round picks. Now you're really behind the eight ball, and obviously it's really, really tough, which a lot of Saints fans want, and get rid of the head coach in year one. It's normally when you're doing that, things aren't in a great spot, and so for the Saints, obviously, I think right now at this point in the season, I thought, in a perfect world, everyone thought Jameis would be kind of picking up where he left off last season and, not turning the ball over and really, just finding ways to win football games. But now you're kind of going to plan B, and I think Andy was brought in to kind of be that serviceable backup, not kind of take the lead of this team and be that quarterback that you depend on to win games. And even looking at the division you're in, and really, obviously, with what the Bucs are doing now, it's really, really hard to make that case that, the Saints are just going to wake up next week and just start lighting this league on fire. It's just not enough execution on offense, and the defense, some weeks they may slow you down, some weeks they may not. And anytime you're losing to a rookie quarterback, it's never good, especially for a veteran defense. And so it's tough for the Saints. I just don't see it, and I'm really more, sad for my boy Sharif. I don't want any tears coming up this week, but it'll be a long day for my boy.
Why is David Carr crying? Because they lost again?
Yes. It pisses me off.
I didn't see this press conference, but
I saw it. I listened
crying.
to every word of it. Yeah, pisses me off. Yeah, he just not happy. Losing stinks. I know that.
Yes, it certainly does, and the Saints are doing a lot of that. We're not going to spend a ton of time on the black and gold. I do want to touch briefly on LSU and Arkansas State on the hardwood. I know a lot of you probably did not take time to take that one in. You'd done 4 hours of football watching. The basketball wasn't going to quite pique your interest. I watched for you. I had to go home to play a little daddy daycare, but I was able to watch, and LSU right now is just not playing great basketball, and there are a lot of reasons for that. They win the game 61-52, so that's a positive. And Adam Miller was sensational. He went 4 of 9 from 3-point land. He scored 26 of LSU's 61 points. He was pretty much the entirety of the offense. He only came off the floor for one brief minute. He played 39 minutes in the game. Everywhere else, their offense was just really spotty. They played against some zone, but a lot of man-to-man, which I wanted to see because they didn't get to play against any man-to-man in the Kansas City game last week. But they just didn't. It was just disjointed. I think Juice Hill's a pretty good player. He did have the ball in his hands a lot. He controls the tempo pretty well. He did a nice job finishing with some floaters around the rim. Still not shooting the ball very well from three-point range, just 1 of 4. From 3-point land, but he does a pretty good job of running the show. And then KJ Williams had a big breakout as far as the 3-point line goes. He made 3 of his 5 threes, including a huge one late, but couldn't get anything going around the basket. I mean, of his 6 makes, 3 were threes, and then 1 was a run-out dunk. So they're not able to create any offense through KJ Williams on the block thus far. So look, it's very early, both in Matt Mann's career here at LSU and in this season. But right now, it's a pretty disjointed crew out there.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the last thing you kind of want to see at this point in the schedule, because it's only going to get harder as things goes, and you're going to hit a gauntlet when SEC play starts. So I think at this point in the season, you at least want to kind of have something you can kind of hang your hat on and kind of build off of. And for this offense, they just really haven't been able to do that and score this amount of points against teams who should be, very, very undermatched against you. It's a little disheartening, but I think as you go forward, you're going to kind of have to figure this thing out as you go and kind of figure out, what guys are our scorers, what guys can we depend on. That was the guy I wanted to see, Adam Miller. I've obviously not getting too much criticism last year, but I think coming in here for this team who really needs the outside shooting, being a guy that they can really depend on going forward. They're running pin downs for him, and he's really, getting the ball up, and that's something that he's going to have to do and really lead this team, especially shooting the ball from the outside and being that presence they can depend on, because if you're only scoring 61 on Arkansas State, it's going to be maybe a long year. We'll see how it plays out, though.
I'm really disappointed that Tyrell Ward does not look to be a huge piece to this team. He did not play at all in the opener. He only played 4 minutes, which that's even worse than a DNP, because at least if he didn't play, maybe he's like suspended or something for 3 or 4 games. But the fact is he's healthy, he's ready to go and available, and they don't see him as a factor. It's just very rare when a 5-star basketball recruit gets to campus and isn't ready to help you significantly. And it appears at this point that Tyrell Ward is not ready because he's not playing very much, and so he only gets 4 minutes. That's a big bummer into what this team can be, because when you look at its ceilings, well, how good could they be? Your ceiling is going to involve your 5-star being a really big piece to the puzzle, and right now he's not.
No, he's not. And I think anytime you're advertised as a 5-star and any program gets said, no matter if you're Mississippi State or Alabama, whatever team, you're always excited, about having that 5-star on your roster. I mean, they earn the rating for a reason, and to kind of see, when you're playing this point in the schedule, I can see when SEC play starts, you want to have a tight rotation. He's not ready. That's one thing. But against these type of opponents, you really got to kind of see what he has and to see what he's only played 4 minutes this whole season. It's a little disheartening, but it's a very long season. Maybe he develops and they figure it out and find a role for him. But I think anytime the 5-star sitting on the bench, it's not jumping for joy for anyone.
And one more issue that we're seeing here with this LSU basketball team through 2 games. Kansas City hung with them on the boards for the entire game. LSU kind of pulled away a little bit late. But Arkansas State out-rebounded LSU, and that's a real problem. I mean, you've got some size. You've got some guys that ought to be able to go in there and help you rebound. I mean, Mwani Wilkinson should be a pretty good rebounding guard. KJ Williams is 6'10". You're starting Reed, who's 6'10". Hannibal's a tough guy that can get in there and help you rebound as a guard. They need to be winning the rebounding battle against some of these littler schools, and right now they're having trouble with that, and that's a red flag.
Yeah, that's why you can't pull away from some of these teams. And when you're not really knocking down the 3-point ball at an alarming clip, and you can't rebound the ball, it makes it so tough to separate. And you have to just play perfect basketball down the stretch to keep the fighting kangaroo shows off the boards.
Kangaroo song.
Yeah, and then you're obviously playing against Arkansas State, so you got to figure that out. And I think with all the size you do have on this roster, that's something I know Coach McMahon is obviously going to continue to preach, because if you can't get this figured out, it's like I said before, it may be a long year.
I'll say this: Coach McMahon has made it a very big priority in his program to defend the 3-point line, and through 2 games against poor teams, LSU has done a really good job at defending the 3-point line. Arkansas State was just 5 of 25 from 3. Kansas City had a real tough game from 3. Are they playing Kentucky or Alabama? No, they're not. But they are doing a pretty good job early. So if we're going to talk about all the issues we think they have at this point, you might throw a little bit of a bouquet in there. It looks like they're doing a pretty good job defending the 3-point line, and Adam Miller has been awesome shooting the basketball. So those are kind of the two bright spots for LSU. Next up is UNO. That game will be on Thursday inside the PMAC. We'll talk with Glenn West tomorrow about a little bit of hoops as well as some football. I want to remind you to check out dropbiscuit.com to browse our growing library. While you're there, you can subscribe to Pops, Fame, You Talking to Me, For the People, Well Stated, or whatever Southern-flavored audio biscuit you may fancy. That is dropbiscuit.com. We will take a timeout, come back, and close it up with some Take It or Leave It. It's Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One of the things I love about betting on the NFL is that I'm always finding new players or game props that I like. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook, you can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score even a bigger payout. Perfect for tonight's game.
Yeah, watching Monday Night Football, you can bet over-under with Jalen Hurts on rushing yards, A.J. Brown to score a touchdown, Brian Robinson rushing yards. Another one of the cool things I like about FanDuel is they've got a local tab that will give you the local lines. I've just touched it right there. You get the Saints -3.5 against the Rams. They got SMU Tulane, ULL Florida State coming up. You've got obviously LSU and UAB, just a 14.5-point number on that one. So you can check out the local action on FanDuel. App is so easy to use. You can live bet during the games, and when you win, you get paid fast. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet, so lock in your bet today with the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with the promo code 1045ESPN. That is promo code 1045ESPN. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues and knowledgeable free bet that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're somebody who knows the gambling problem won't sell, call 1-877-770-STOP.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench anytime. Hunt and Hill. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit. We get it done with passion for our fans and love for our community. We are the Tigers. Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck.
Join me, Jimmy, out at Charles Handegrift. Monday, 6 to 8 p.m., we're at Spoken Hub Restaurant on Government Street in Mid-City. We recap the weekend pro and college football. Game Time presented by Bet Rivers on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Big shout out to William Hutchison of Baton Rouge. He is the Week 11 winner in the 2022 Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em Contest. Wins $50 to Twin Peaks. Don't forget to make your picks for Week 12 by 5 o'clock on Thursday. Play the 2022 Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em today at 104.5 ESPN.com. Excited for tomorrow's show. Going to have Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball to talk a little fall baseball. He was in Lafayette yesterday. LSU and ULL scrimmage. Tommy White hit 3 home runs. Dylan Cruz hit another homer as well. Tiger bats were very, very good. Thatcher Hurd gave 3 innings. Apparently Grant Taylor was awesome in the game yesterday, so that's an encouraging thing. He's been kind of hot and cold. He was sensational early on. Then he did not pitch as well against McNeese, but I think he found it again yesterday. So some good stuff there. Kendall was there. We'll get his thoughts tomorrow. We'll also chat with Glenn West at the top of the show before he gets to Matt McMahon's press conference tomorrow, and then we'll always talk to Sharif Ishak on Tuesday. We'll see if Sharif's doing okay.
Oh, jeez. I'm worried about Sharif.
Let's play some Take It or Leave It.
All righty, here. Jeff Borzello's first power rankings for NCAA men's basketball just came out. There are 5 teams from the SEC ranked in the top 15. Are you taking or leaving? When March rolls around, the SEC will be represented in the Final Four.
Final Four. There are some teams that good, so I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Kentucky's that good. I think Tennessee, even though they lost yesterday, has got a really good team. Bruce Pearl's got a good team at Auburn. A&M's now ranked. So never know.
Arkansas.
Arkansas is very good. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and take that. All right, everybody's favorite Aggie, Billy Lucci, took to Twitter with some not-so-kind words about Jimbo Fisher, stating the offense has bottomed out and he should have no choice but to hand over the offensive operation. Jimbo going to call plays for the Aggies next year. Take it or leave it.
I'm taking it. I love it. Don't you guys just listen to the show? I want more Jimbo. We need more Jimbo. We need the national championship winning coach. He's dialing it up. Didn't y'all not see the Plains like last Saturday? It's great football to watch. Amazing football. My eyes were just, look, they talk about burning your retinas. My eyes were just lighting up with gold. It was just beautiful football, and we need more of that from the Aggies. So, yeah, Jimbo, you keep dialing them up, my brother. Keep going. I love to see it. All right, here we go here. All right, y'all love this one. After the challenge from head coach Nick Saban saying to play to the standard, take it personal, Alabama Crimson Tide. They beat Ole Miss on the road 30-24, sealing LSU's ticket to the SEC championship. Hunt Palmer will no longer say roll Tide going forward. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I don't need them at all anymore. They are totally worthless to me. So go ahead and do whatever you got to do. I needed you on Saturday. You got off to a terrible start. I was very upset about it. Looked like you were going to choke it away. I was devastated by that. But yeah, those days are numbered. It was between 2010 to 2022 before I pulled for the Tide again. So it was 12 years. If we got to go another 12 years, we'll go another 12 years. But I needed some help on Saturday. They gave me the help on Saturday. They did not give me any help beating Cam Newton, but they gave me the help on Saturday. That's what I needed. It was a delight to enjoy a beverage after the Tide had clinched, and we knew we were headed to Atlanta. Very good.
No, it was amazing. It was amazing. And like I said earlier, never thought in my wildest dreams we'd be pumping some Dixieland Delight right here in the studio. But there I was. Like, I wasn't going to pull for the Tide too much going into it. But when they sealed the deal, you know, I got to play some Dixieland tonight. Why not? Alabama, greatest band ever. Guess they got that one little song that they just love to sing. But whatever. In the times like this, you got to play a little Dixieland Delight. And it was a delight to watch them win something for the Tigers. Like, how many times we get to say that in our lifetime?
Greg Lehman in the Bayou 4 chat says, at Hunt Palmer, still got him third in the SEC power rankings, though, right? Well, we'll just have to see on Wednesday how things go in the power rankings. We haven't made any decisions yet. We're going to evaluate all the information and come forward with the correct and proper SEC power rankings coming up on Wednesday. Bobby Marks from ESPN.com wrote an article on how the Pelicans need to thank the Lakers for their opportunity to draft Victor Wembanyama, number 1 overall, saying they got a 6.9% chance to get the first pick. Pels getting that number 1 pick. Take it or leave it.
I'm leaving that. Shall not see that boy AD Street Close Davis last night. We're 3-10 right now, just giving them the greatest shot. But no, we're probably gonna give them the number overall pick. We stink. We're not good. It's going to be a long year, probably an injury away. LeBron never plays anymore. AD's just always holding his back.
When's LeBron breaking that record? When do we have a time for that?
I guess he's trying to time it up around All-Star Weekend or something. I don't know, man. It's always a show with that guy. I guess he's got to – I know what he's doing. He's working on his flops. That's what he's doing, taking some time off, working on the flops, come back on the court. He's going to be a better flopper than he was last time we saw him. So, yeah, my Lakers stink. So, good luck, Pels. You probably got to get that pick.
I had to get on LeBron's case last week about the flopping thing. I mean, he says that, and then every single person on Twitter is just putting out compilations of LeBron flopping all over the place. They were like 5-minute long videos of him falling all over the basketball court. Don't tell me you need to learn how to flop. I think you got that figured out pretty nice.
No, man. It's always funny when the biggest, strongest guy on the court is diving, like he's on the swim team. Maybe he's trying to go for the Olympic swim team with his diving skills, because I've seen him take some dives, seen him, almost snap his neck back in place. He got some tricks up his sleeve. And, making my Lakers really stink right now. But, hey, what do you got to do? Got to be a long year. Just got to suck it up, I guess.
I talked to Jake Flint last Friday about getting ready to play early in the morning. And he said that they mentioned to the guys they needed to stock up on some sleep early in the week. You're not getting off the air until about 3:15 on Saturday. Are you going to be able to stock up on some sleep this week?
Man, look. Watching the Aggies lose, I slept like a baby. So I got plenty of sleep on Saturday. That was just a great, just soothing night's rest. Slept like a baby. Tigers in the SEC championships. The Doors, I still can't wrap my mind. The Doors have a better record than Texas A&M. Like, how could you not sleep great with that? Like, the Doors.
It's going to be a long night. Well, what's your excitement level for the UAB game? Are you fired up to see the guys play, or are we just going to wander through this week aimlessly?
Man, it's not much juice. Like, we talked about the electric atmosphere for Alabama.
Yeah,
I don't know how electric this one's going to be. But, hey, it's senior night, got some seniors on the team. Maybe I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that high.
Is Jure a senior yet?
COVID, dude, don't ask me anything. I don't know. Like, everyone has 10 more years. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know who's a senior. I'm confident Jure Jenkins is
He's better be.
He's been here since the Reagan administration. So, yeah, he's been around for a bit. All right, that'll do it for Take It or Leave It, and that'll just about do it here for a Monday show. Our opening hour on Monday is always brought to you by The Shed Barbecue. If you're looking to tailgate, certainly give The Shed a call. They can have you set up on Saturday. We talked LSU and Arkansas for the entirety of hour number 1. In hour number 2, we opened things up talking about the SEC and what we saw on Saturday. Talked a little bit about the Aggies in the second segment. And then at 2:30, touched on the Saints as well as some LSU basketball. So if you missed any of it, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com. Hit that on-demand tab. Go down to Hunt and Hill. You can find it right there. Or you can go to Spotify or Apple Podcast. If you do, we would really appreciate it if you would search Hunt and Hill, like and subscribe to the podcast. That helps us get as many eyeballs and ear lobes on our content as possible. And, of course, we appreciate everybody for hanging out on YouTube in the Bayou Ford chat. All of you hanging out, even though you're yelling at me a lot of the time. But that's okay. I can handle that. We'd appreciate it if on your way out you would throw us a like. That means a lot to us as well. That's where you can catch all the stuff on demand. As I mentioned, tomorrow's show, we're going to have Glenn West at the top of the show talking Tigers. We'll have Sharif Ishak coming up from WDSU talking about the black and gold and maybe a little bit of Pels. And then I'm fired up to talk to Kendall Rogers tomorrow at 2 o'clock about what he saw from the Fighting Tiger baseball squad over in Lafayette. Only one more week of fall ball left. They'll have the Purple and Gold World Series coming up this weekend. So Jay Johnson's team about put a fall in the books. All right, that will do it for us. Hope you're having a great Monday. Coming up at 6 o'clock, it'll be Jimmy Ott's Game Time. It'll be Jimmy and I think Charlie tonight as well. And then, of course, Matt Moscona about to drive you home on After Further Review. Have a wonderful Monday. We're moving you towards the weekend here every single weekday from 1 to 3. You're listening to the Capital City's leader in sports talk. It's Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.